With zero to show for it, Washington's making squeaky noises about peace negotiations and dialogue with Russia, as if Vladimir Putin's regime was some rational actor itching for a handshake. Pull the lens back to the ground truth in Ukraine, and the picture is starkly different. Russia's war has sunk into a cesspool of savagery, a campaign of annihilation that spits in the face of decency and international law. I'm former SEAL Team 6 Squadron Leader Chuck Pfarrer, and this is Point of Impact. Night after night, Moscow's war machine rains hell on Ukrainian cities. Drones, ballistic missiles, and precision strike cruise missiles slamming into civilian high-rises with an ugly regularity. On the zero line, the execution of Ukrainian POWs isn't a glitch in the system, it's policy, etched in blood across the trenches. This isn't a war, it's genocide with a Kremlin stamp. And Russia proves it every day, in the air, at sea, and in the mud of frontline combat. Today we're zeroing in on one of Moscow's ugliest signatures, the unlawful use of chemical weapons against Ukrainian soldiers. From the shattered steelworks of Mariupol to the embattled fields of Pokrovsk, Russia's forces have turned to a toxic arsenal, the chemical agents CS, CN, and chloro-picrin, and bespoke riot agents like Chere-mukha to choke, blind, and break Ukrainian defenders. This isn't a footnote in the conflict, it's a calculated escalation, a reminder to the civilized world of Russian savagery, and a fresh entry into Putin's long ledger of war crimes. The chemical playbook kicked off early, April 2022, Mariupol. Ukrainian fighters holed up in the Azovstal steel plant reported a drone dropping something nasty, a yellowish cloud that clawed at lungs and eyes. Suspicion fell on chloro-picrin, a World War I-era lung shredder. NATO lists this as the chemical weapon PS. Fast forward to September that year, and Ukraine's Southern Command clocked K-51 gas grenades, laced with the same choking agent, raining down from Russian UAVs near Orakov. By March 2024, Ukraine's Ministry of Defense had logged 1,068 separate chemical attacks, a tally that's only spiked as Moscow has doubled down on the use of chemical weapons. Now it's March 2025. Pokrovsk front lines are the latest to gag under CS, tear gas, CN, asphyxiants, irritant gas, and Russia's bespoke bird cherry chemical agents. The asphyxiant gas chloroacetophenone, delivered by high-capacity grenades that burn flesh and destroy human airways. These aren't Russian vatniks tossing the wrong-colored grenade in the heat of battle. These are deliberately modulated campaigns of chemical warfare. Mariupol's steelworks were the proving ground, a claustrophobic nightmare where toxic gas hunted defenders in tunnels and smothered them where they stood. Russia counted the bodies and liked what it saw. Putin decided to take the chemical roadshow nationwide. Orakov saw drones buzzing with poison in 2023, turning open fields into kill zones. Later in the same oblast, CS laced hell in September in 2024, confirmed by the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons. Its investigation was launched, but Russian chemical war crimes are underreported and largely unknown to the citizens of the free world. Pokrovsk trenches now simmer under the same fumes, a signal that Russia's chemical reach knows no bounds. Delivery methods evolved too. At first, drones dropped K-51 grenades with surgical spite. Then artillery scattered CS gas across large swaths of ground, and mortars lobbed choking agents into Ukrainian dugouts, forcing its troops to choose between suffocation or a bullet. This is terror, weaponized, and every incident is a war crime. Let's talk the law, or the Kremlin's contempt for it. Russia signed the Chemical Weapons Convention in 1997, pledging to prohibit the use of chemical agents in armed conflicts. Article 1, Paragraph 5, specifically bans riot control agents like CS and CN in warfare. Full stop. Article 2, Paragraph 7, tags them as temporary irritants, fine for crowd control, but not battlefields. Chloro-picrin is a Schedule 3 nasty, and it doubles as a chemical weapon when you turn it on soldiers. Putin's response? Denials, shrugs, and the same tired lies they peddled after Salisbury's Novichok hit and Navalny's poisoning. The OPCW's got the receipts, samples, survivor testimony, shell fragments, but Russia doesn't care. Rules are for chumps. The game is about power. Tactically, this is no surprise. Russia's military is a blunt instrument, big on firepower, short on finesse. When Ukrainian grit and NATO hardware stalled their blitzkrieg, the Russians fell back on the old Soviet standby. Grind it out, no matter what the cost. Chemical weapons fit the bill. Cheap, dirty, and brutal. CS blinds and panics, flushing troops from cover into Russian kill zones. CN and chloro-picrin hit harder, searing lungs and dropping men where they stand. The Chere-mukha agent adds a Russian twist. It's a riot agent that's juiced up to maim and blister skin. All of this is about breaking Ukraine's will, poisoning one gasping soldier at a time. Pair this with nightly missile strikes on apartment blocks, and you've got Moscow's real strategy. Terrorize the front, gut the rear, and deny every atrocity and dare the world to blink. History's the teacher here. Russia's been at this game for decades. In Chechnya, they gassed rebel holdouts in Grozny, leaving a city of corpses. Syria's another Russian chemical laboratory. Assad's chlorine and nerve gas attacks had Putin's fingerprints all over them. Turns out they were a testing ground for Ukraine. The Kremlin doesn't innovate. It refines cruelty. The use of Novichok, a deadly nerve agent and weapon of mass destruction, was used in Salisbury, UK, to poison Russian defectors Sergei and Yulia Skripal. It showed that Putin was willing to poison anyone, anywhere, if the stakes were right. Now, Ukraine's the target, and the chemical tally's a grim echo of Moscow's rap sheet. Massacres in Bucha, torture chambers in Kherson, kids ripped from their homes. Over 100,000 Ukrainian children kidnapped, 14 million people displaced. This is the context. Chemical warfare is just another tool in Russia's genocide kit. Ukraine's fighting back, no question. Javelins, HIMARS, and sheer guts have bloodied Russia's nose from Kharkiv to Kherson. But the toll is brutal. Soldiers in gas masks stumble through poisoned trenches. Civilians huddle under missile barrages, and NATO's in the fight. Poland and the Baltics are all in, the UK's shipping gear, but it's not enough. America has proven itself to be an unreliable and even feckless friend. The intel pause used to drag Kyiv into the negotiation table was a catastrophe for Ukraine's frontline troops. Russia took advantage of Washington's betrayal and pounced. A tactical gift delivered right into Putin's bloody hands. But it gets worse. Washington's hand-wringing fear of escalation keeps long-range systems like ATACMS on a leash, giving Russia a pass on logistics and breathing room to reload. Washington is and remains a wild card rather than an ally. Every delay in shipment of weapons, equipment, and ammunition means Ukraine is paying in blood. The Kremlin's endgame? Crush Ukraine, dictate terms, and carve out a vassal state. Putin's denazification babble is a sham. This is empire building, raw and ugly. Chemical weapons are the exclamation point, a signal that Putin will stop at nothing. Peace talks? A Kremlin con. Like Minsk or Istanbul, stall, rearm, and strike again. Russia has already broken every written promise it has made to Ukraine, from the Minsk agreements to the Budapest Memorandum. Russia's pledges to honor Ukraine's boundaries and security are a vicious little joke. Nightly bombardments, executed POWs, stolen kids. Russia's not negotiating. It's exterminating. The West has got to wake up. Half measures won't cut it. Ukraine needs the tools to hit back hard because Moscow only understands force. So here's the bottom line. Russia isn't serious about peace. Daily war crimes, civilian strikes, POW murders, the kidnap and mass resettlement of children scream it out loud. This is genocide. So let's tell it like it is. Any ceasefire is a feint, a chance for Moscow to regroup, re-equip, and re-engage militarily, and go for the kill, just as they did in Chechnya, Georgia, and Moldova. Putin's playbook never changes. Pause, reload, attack. Until a lasting peace is forged, built on Ukrainian strength and NATO's ironclad backing, Kyiv's got to hold the line. This isn't just Ukraine's war. It's the free world's. And the cost of folding is a future where tyrants gas their way to victory. That's a line we can't let them cross. For the Kyiv Post, I'm Navy SEAL Chuck Pfarrer, and I'll see you again at the point of impact.